All right, so for today's tip, I'm going to talk about three lessons that I've learned in my almost 9 year healthcare quality journey. So, lesson number one, apply anyway. Let me just say, a lot of times we see a job description or a job posting and we don't meet all of the requirements and we don't check all the boxes and we decide not to apply. Well, we are really, really missing out. Applying anyway helps you to build confidence. It is how you market yourself. And ultimately, you are a brand. So you want to be able to show that you have the confidence for these different roles. And you'd be surprised at the number of employers that don't expect you to meet all of the job description, right? They have those that are required, those things that are required, they have those things that are preferred, and you just never know where you can fit in. And it is very, very helpful to just apply anyway. Just take a chance, do the thing. What's the worst that can happen, right? If you don't apply, you know you won't get the role. If you do apply, maybe they would say no, but maybe they would say yes. I actually did this myself. There was a role that I applied to several years ago where the job description wanted a registered nurse or a physician. And obviously, I'm neither one of those. I'm a physical therapist by background, and I applied for the job anyway. And I wrote in my cover letter why they should choose me, why I would be a good fit for the role. And ultimately, I did get the role. What I didn't know at the time is that they were open to therapists working in that role, even though it wasn't listed in the job description. And it was one of the most fulfilling roles in my career. If I had not applied to that position, who knows what would have happened? Obviously, I wouldn't have gotten the job, but I would have missed out on all of the things that I learned, all of the people that I've met, and ultimately, it was just a very career fulfilling role. So, lesson number one is apply anyway. Lesson number two is practice interviewing. So, even if you're not actively looking for a job, even if you're kind of just browsing or not really considering leaving your current employer, it is helpful to practice the interview. And especially helpful when you're not in a desperate mode where I need this job and I need it now. And the value to practice interviewing is one, to get yourself in front of recruiters and hiring managers to see what questions they're asking and to really get your nerves out. And things change over the years in terms of interviewing and what people are looking for. So if you've been in your current role for 3 years, then you don't know what the market is looking like. So it's very helpful to practice even when you're not looking for a job, and especially when you're not looking for a job. And it will help you again to build confidence and to be ready whenever you do want to roll. So lesson number one is apply anyway. Lesson number two is practice interviewing. And lesson number three, that I've learned over the last 9 years, and I really had to narrow it down to three because it's been a very interesting and fulfilling journey. But lesson number three is your clinical expertise matters, but it's how you communicate that. And it should not be your primary selling point. So if you're looking to go from a clinical role to one that is non bedside or where you're not directly interacting with the patient in a clinical type way, then when you're applying for roles and when you are doing your resume and your cover letter, if you're doing a cover letter, then you obviously are going to let them know that you have a clinical background, but it should not be what they see first, right? Because that's not the role that you're looking for. You want to show your value, you want to show your transferable skills, you want to show what you're bringing to the table, you want to show what impact you've had at your other roles. And then you say, oh, and by the way, I'm a physical therapist, or oh, by the way, I have a clinical background, right? So unless the position is specifically looking for someone who is a physical therapist or occupational therapist or respiratory therapist, then that is not going to be top on your list for what you share with them. And along those lines, when I'm teaching people or walking people through how to do a resume, your educational background is near the end of your resume, not the beginning. So you really want to highlight your value first and then point out that you're a clinician or that you have been a clinician, right? You don't want to start with how many patients you've seen or what patient populations you've served, because that may not be relevant for the non-bedside role that you're looking for. All right, so just to recap, three lessons that I have learned that I hope that you can learn from me as well and you can apply to your particular situation. But number one is apply anyway, even if you don't meet all of the qualifications that's in the job posting. Number two, practice interviewing, even when and especially when you are not desperate and when you're not actually looking for a role. And number three, your clinical expertise matters, but it should not be your primary selling point. So let me know what your thoughts are. If you have other topics that you want me to talk about, let me know. I would love to hear from you.